Hi, fans of high quality entertainment. So I've done the worst, I think the 25 worst album covers, and now I'm doing the 25 best album covers. Of course, everybody has their different opinions, but I Googled what were the top 25 classic rock album covers of all time, and Google gave me this list. There were a couple of albums I didn't necessarily agree with, and there was one particular album cover, which I believe is at number two, which wasn't even on the list. So, of course, there's going to be some great album covers missing, but that's what happens when you do you know, an album list with only 25 slots, right? So here we go, and let me know what you think of this list. And what I've done is I have ranked them, my own personal opinion. And so let me know what you think about this list. I'm sure I'll hear. So number 25, I don't really agree with it being even the top 100, but Joy Division, Unknown Pleasures. And I guess that is is it a sound wave or whatever? But not too exciting of an album cover to me. Number 24, AC/DC, Back in Black, a very dark album cover. And, because of Bon Scott's passing, it's a, tribute to him. So it kind of, makes sense, the black cover. But still, I think there's better album covers out there than Back in Black. So that's number 24. Number 23, not Andy Warhol. No, it's the Velvet Underground. Then, of course, Peeled Slowly and See, the original album that was a sticker, and then you would peel it, and it would, of course, be a banana underneath. Big surprise. Number 22. Bruce Springsteen's Butt. That wouldn't be on my list, but that, it came up in more than one list, so I've included that. That's at number 22. It's, of course, it's an iconic album cover. And he has one more album cover on this list. Number 21. Nirvana, Nevermind. Chasing the Old Dollar Sign. Number 20. Green Day, American Idiot. I actually bought that album. It was good, actually, but I'm not really a fan of Green Day overall. Number 19, Queen 2. Pretty, like I said, these so far, these wouldn't be even in my top 100 album covers, but number 18. Now they're starting to, get better. Now, just the cover alone isn't that impressive, really. But, the original album had an actual zipper. And that was pretty different back in the early 70s. And of course, it would usually damage the vinyl record or the other vinyl record in front of it in record stores. Put a little dent in it. Number 17. Yeah, Led Zeppelin, their first album. The Hindenburg. No, but, once again, even though, of course, that's one of the greatest debut albums ever, but would it make anybody's list if it was some band and, the album just sold okay or whatever? Number 16, Yeah, I love this album cover. I remember I'm actually thinking of doing a video on this particular album on my other YouTube channel. Uh, Never mind the Bullocks. Here's the Sex Pistols. And I'll tell the story in the other video about buying that album. But I like it. Number 15, Led Zeppelin 4, or So, or Untitled, or whatever you want to call it. And of course, sometimes the gatefold, the front cover and the back of it, if you open it up, it looks even cooler. But, I'm just focusing on the album cover. And still, it's, very unique. But once again, if that wasn't Led Zeppelin, would that album cover be in the top 100, right? Number 14. Yep, great album cover. And of course, the back. Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run. Number 13. The Jimi Hendrix Experience, Access, Bold as Love. And supposedly, I didn't know this until recently, but I guess Jimi Hendrix didn't really care for this album cover. I like it. It's cool. Number 12. Yeah, these album covers are getting really good. Supertramp, although I will say, I think Crime of the Century is a better album cover. But still, that's a very good album cover. Number 11. Well, Gabba Gabba Hey, it's Ramones. Yeah, very iconic album cover, of course. I remember buying that. And, I think definitely the album cover helps, especially if you haven't heard the music within. So, and I love the album right away. So here is the top 10, my ranking. Number 10. Yep. The Clash, London Calling, of course, doing a kind of a parody of Elvis Presley's first album. Number 9. Fleetwood Mac Rumors, one of their actual, they're on the worst album covers list. They could have actually been on more than the 2 times they were, but that is a excellent album cover with Mick Fleetwood's dangling. Never mind. Let's go on to number 8. Now we're getting into the really good stuff. Aladdin Sane, David Bowie. Yeah, he could have had 2 or 3 other on the. I think there might. No. I don't think Ziggy Stardust is on this list. But he had some really good album covers and then some not so great album covers, such as Toy or Reality. Number 7. Yep, Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. Of course, when the album first came out, it was in this black plastic bag with a hype sticker on it. But, that is the album cover. Number 6. It's the Beatles. What a surprise they're on the list. I actually love this album cover more than I did, when I was younger. Yeah, very cool. Although I will, once again, I will say Rubber Soul should have been on this list. Number 5. It's Pink Floyd again. I don't know if anybody's ever seen this album cover. The album is called The Dark Side of the Moon. Write that down. Number 4. It's the Beatles again. And, like I keep saying, now if that wasn't a really famous rock band, right, and it was some band that just sold not a lot of records, I don't think that would be on the list. But because it's the Beatles and it's such a cool picture of the Beatles that it's become iconic, don't you think? Number 3. Creepy. Yeah. Perfect album cover for the first Black Sabbath album. Another one, I also think comparable to this one is Frank Zappa's Hot Rats with the woman in the empty swimming pool. It's kind of a creepy album cover too, but definitely one of the most creepy album covers ever. Now, number 2 wasn't on this list, when I was looking, and I was kind of surprised by it. But I've put it in number 2 position. Yeah, King Crimson in the Court of the Crimson King. I remember seeing that in the record store. I didn't know anything about the band. I didn't, I don't know if the name of the band was on the back or not, on the spine, of course, but I just remember thinking that was such a disturbing album cover, but also very cool. And it wasn't until probably the late 70s I finally heard the album. Number 1 for me from the list is it's the Beatles. I can't believe it. Yeah. If you were around my age, right? So in 67, I was 9 years old. There was no album cover, and the gatefold and everything else included with it. There was no album that ever looked like that. And many of us Beatles fans back in the in the 60s, we would be listening to the album and staring at the album cover in the back and the gatefold for hours on end. And it's just, it's kind of the one that really started making album covers very important with, the music within. And I just also just think it's a fantastic album cover. So that's my number 1 choice. Of course, there are a lot of great album covers, not in this list. And when I think about, because I'm a big Sparks fan, is Kimono My House and Propaganda and Indiscreet. But let me know what you think of this list and what great album covers are missing. Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.